Shabbat Shalom, Shari Torah. The hope that everybody is surviving this crazy weather from 80 degrees one day to snow the next. You never know what you're going to get here in Gaithersburg. Want to draw your attention to Passover, which is coming up very quickly. Our Passover page is live on the website for all your Passover needs. We hope that those who are able to join for the Women's Seder next Sunday evening are able to do so for that, as well as our first annual, hopefully, second night Passover Seder for our community on the second evening of Passover. Hope you're able to join for that, as well as Mitzvah Day next Sunday and a whole host of other programming coming up in the coming weeks. This week we read Parashat Vayakhel Pekudei, the double portion that ends the book of Exodus, in which the book of Shemot comes to a conclusion, and we also add a special portion of HaChodesh, which takes us back to the instructions the Israelites received while they were in Egypt as they prepared for the Exodus. But let's take a look for a moment at each of these and then step back to see what they teach us together. In Parashat Vayakhel, the building of the Mishkan finally begins. For several Torah portions, we've heard about the plans, the measurements, the instructions, but now something new happens. Moses actually gathers the people together, and then the work actually starts. The vision begins to take the physical form. In Parashat Pekudei, the work comes to completion. See how quick that was? We read about the culmination of all the preparations, the materials, the efforts that went into building the Mishkan. Piece by piece, everything comes together until the sanctuary is finally complete. And then Parshat HaChodesh takes us back in time to a time when we were in Egypt. There, the Israelites received the instructions for their final days before actually leaving slavery, being moved from a journey of slavery to freedom, ultimately beginning their journey towards redemption. For each of these moments, they have been filled with an incredible amount of emotion. Not long before the people of Israel were slaves in Egypt, they were anxious, they were hopeful to prepare to leave. Later, they stood at Mount Sinai experiencing revelation, and then they stumbled with the sin of the golden calf, which we read about last week. And now they're building the sanctuary that ultimately would hold God's presence among them. There's a beautiful midrash, a beautiful rabbinic teaching that says that it's only at the very end of Parshat Pekudei, the end of the book of Exodus, when the Torah tells us that God's presence finally rests in the Mishkan, that the Israelites truly know where they have been forgiven because of the sin of the golden calf. And until that moment, they must have wondered, would God ever forgive? Would the divine presence really dwell amongst those that they had been promised? At the end of the book of Shemot, we have the answer. The cloud of God's presence fills the Mishkan, and the nation that is formerly of slaves, who did not long before them immerse themselves in the culture and the oppression of Egypt, they become a people that dwell with God in their own midst. It's hard to imagine that they could have been fully believing in this outcome back when they were slaves in Egypt, before they received instruction from Moses and ultimately revelation. And yet, step by step, moment by moment, that is exactly where the journey led. Sometimes we can't see where our own journeys are leading when we're in the middle of them. With the closing of the book of Exodus, it reminds us that the transformation is possible. It tells us that a people can move from slavery to freedom, from a sense of not having belonging to being in covenant with one another, and from fear to faith, from certainty to the presence of something that is holy in their midst. I hope this Shabbat brings us a little bit closer to one another, a little warmth in our world, and may we all go from strength to strength, now and always. Shabbat Shalom.